Good afternoon and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Germinal Van, author of three major books, all available on Amazon.com. Today I want to talk to you guys about socialism. For those who follow me on social media, they know that I do hate socialism with a passion. I do not only believe that it is a bad ideology, it is a terrible political philosophy. And I'm not ashamed to say that I do hate socialism. But it is funny to me how in the United States people have begun to express a certain enthusiasm for that evil ideology without even giving a thought on Venezuela, who is currently struggling in that horrific political system. People have been chanting about Bernie Sanders. They're now following Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a person who has an absolute talent for saying things that make no sense, but people still believe her. Great. We have proofs that socialism never worked. The Soviet Union, in Vietnam, in Tanzania, in China, in Cuba, now in Venezuela, and in many African countries, and Southeast Asian countries as well, and also India, I shouldn't forget. All these countries have tried socialism. Now all these countries are capitalist countries. Despite all these proofs that socialism is a terrible political regime, here in America they still believe that it might work. Why is that? Why is that enthusiasm for such a horrible thing? In Venezuela, for instance, people have lost 24 pounds waiting in long lines for hours just to get basic needs, just to eat, to get food and toilet paper. Fidel Castro had an entire island for himself. He lived over 90 years old and could not make socialism work in Cuba, to the point that people have to flee Cuba to come to Miami for a better life. Socialism has failed in the Soviet Union to its complete dissolution. The Chinese were the only one that applied socialism at first, but since they were cautious, they were able to transform socialism into capitalism, and they were still able to exercise that authoritarian political system on their citizens. China is the only country that didn't collapse but transitioned from socialism to capitalism smoothly. But even if China was able to transition like that, it means that socialism is a failure. But here in America, people still believe in it. People still say that socialism provides benefits. The only thing to understand about socialism is power and government control. If, as an individual, you live in a socialistic country, you are not free. And I'm going to explain why. I took some notes here to elaborate my point. So what is socialism? Socialism is an economic system and a political ideology that advocates for three main elements: equity, justice, and prosperity. Of course, these three elements sounds good because they promulgate, human enhancement, and peace for everyone to be happy. But it's just delusional, in my opinion, and I'm going to now elaborate on that. Equity, justice, and prosperity. The thing to understand about socialism is that it, first of all, advocates for the collectivization of the means of production over free private enterprise. So that means that the government is the one that decides of the price of the product you're going to consume. So the government can tax you at the rate it wants it, and you have no say in it. So based on that, since there is no private enterprise, we do not have private actors to stimulate the economy. The government is the one stimulating the economy. But here is why there is always economic stagnation in socialistic countries. Simply because the economy in the first place is a cycle. It means that it has its boom and its recession. But when there is economic recession, who is taking the blame? How do you fix it? When there's economic recession, there's no way to recover from it if the government is the one producing price and other means. It leads to economic stagnation. We have higher demand for a shortage of supply, and this is what we're witnessing in Venezuela. This is what we have witnessed in the Soviet Union. This is what we have witnessed in Cuba. But people are still not satisfied with these proofs. Socialism also advocates for justice. In justice, it means the abolition of social classes, the abolition of private property. In fact, Karl Marx has been always saying that the rich is the one who is exploiting the poor, but he forgets that when the worker leaves work after his shift, the employer is still at work, managing the company and taking responsibilities for the failure of the company if the company is deemed to fail. He's saying that people are rich because they have private property. Without private property, everybody's equal. All properties belongs now to the state, so the government. And then prosperity. Prosperity is basically ingrained in a centrally planned economy. As I said previously, the government in a centrally planned economy is the one that direct the prices and the means of production. So regardless of how much an individual produces to the wealth of society, government is the sole decider of the extent to which an individual shall be rewarded. So two individuals can produce as much as they want. The government is the one who decides how much we're going to compensate them. Instead of in capitalism, you are rewarded based on what you produce. Interestingly, in socialistic countries, we have even bigger disparities. People forget that in socialist regimes, there is always rich and poor. But this time, who are the rich? The bureaucrats. The one who pass these laws that amplify government control and centrally planned economy and a centralized power. These are the ones who become rich. And all the rest, the ordinary citizens, are equal, but they're equal in their misery. There's no incentives to move forward in life because the government is the one who decides about your health, about your education, about the jobs that you should get, because the government implements a set of rules that impose conformity. So if you do not meet the requirements of this conformity, you're not eligible to work. The government is the one that decides on the curriculum you should learn in school. So the government controls your education. The government is the one who decides what kind of health plan you should get, without even knowing all the disease or your health condition. Without knowing all of that, the government says, okay, this is what we offer. You have no choice. You're going to have to take it. That's what socialism is about. But in the United States, people are still chanting socialism. To me, it is kind of scary to see how close we are from becoming a socialist country. Donald Trump said in his State of the Union that America will never be a socialist country. But we're actually closer than we think we are. Yeah, we are really close to socialism. Because when you have people like Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and now you have Elizabeth Warren, you have Kamala Harris and Cory Booker, all of them who are competing to show who is the most socialist. When you see all of these people competing with each other to advance a plan that promulgates, centralized government, it's scary. And we are 1 year away from the elections. So this video I am making is to make people aware that no matter where you are, no matter the society you live in, socialism is not for your benefit. It's not about your benefit. Socialism is about government power. It's about control. It's about the deprivation of your freedom. Those who fled Cuba to come to Miami to have a better life in the United States know why they did it. If socialism was that great, they would have still remained in Cuba. But they're not. They're here. Those people who live in Venezuela and now have fled the country know why they fled. And here, you guys are still praising socialism. We must be careful. I want to thank you guys for listening to me. And please do not forget to purchase my third book. It's entitled Essays on Issues. It's available on Amazon. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much and have a good weekend.